back to Marvel Live at Comic-Con 2015, brought to you by Marvel Future Fight from Netmarble. I'm Ryan Panagos, aka Marvel's Agent M.
I'm Lorraine Sink, host and writer of Marvel's The Watcher, and we are joined by Eric Drath. How are you doing this fine day?
Actually, you didn't hear that it's Ant-Man?
Oh, wait, there you are. Thank God. I was so worried that you weren't going to be here. Of course, wonderful director, producer of some of our amazing documentary content with Livestar Entertainment. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been a wonderful project. It's been over a year that we've been working together, and it was basically ESPN and Marvel coming together to create this amazing series, which I was lucky enough to be part of. And it was a two-part project. The first part was a 77-minute documentary called Genesis 1 of 1, which is actually going to be broadcasted for the first time ever on ESPN this Tuesday, back-to-back on ESPN 1, starting at, I believe, 7:30, but check your local listing.
7:30 Eastern, and then check your local listings.
Exactly. And then the second part of this wonderful project was 8 phenomenal, and I say phenomenal not because of the work that we did making it, but because of the stories that these athletes told, their origin stories, and their 4 to 8 minute shorts that are also going to be on ESPN, which unprecedentedly is going to be on Sports Center. 4 to 8 minute short films on Sports Center, starting on Monday.
There's like 5-10 people who watch Sports Center every night, so I mean it's kind of it's a growing show. You know, we're helping them out here, so it's pretty good of us. I'm really happy we can do this.
Very nice of us.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, and picking up on what you said, I think one of the really smart things that Marvel and ESPN did by doing this series was that, you know, Marvel is reaching out to ESPN viewers, and ESPN, of course, reaching out to Marvel viewers, and how to do that better than to take these origin stories, something that, of course, Marvel viewers are very familiar with in terms of all superheroes have an origin story. And what we found was that all great athletes have an origin story very similar.
Right.
And there were really 3 parts to the origin story that we found, at least from a superhero's point of view or criteria. One is this discovery of their power.
Right.
The second thing is that all superheroes have to overcome some adversity.
Right.
You know, for instance, Spider-Man, you know, not being able to, you know, save his uncle in time. And the third thing is the destiny. What do they do with it? How do they achieve? Do they use their power for good, or do they use it for bad? So there's, you know, definitely those choices. And with athletes, we found the same exact thing. They discover their powers a lot of times between the ages of, I mean, it could start with Bryce Harper as early as like 3 years old, but usually between 7 and 12, they'll find their power. Then all of them have to overcome some adversity. They get cut from the team. They, you know, somebody's better than them. They have to really train really hard. And the third thing, the destiny, what do they actually do with all that talent and all that hard work?
And you mentioned an athlete. What other athletes are going to be featured? It seems like you worked with a ton of people, right?
Yeah, I mean, overall, we work with 16 world-class athletes, unbelievable group of athletes. And so you'll see all 16 in Genesis 1 of 1, which again is going to be on ESPN on Tuesday.
Right.
But the short films, what we did, and for no reason other than the athletes that delivered a story that we felt could be told with great Marvel animation the best, we did 8 unique short films.
Right.
Who did you guys work with? Was it Mast and Jeffo who worked on those, on the animation side? Yeah, so Mast and Jeffo, which are amazing Marvel artists. They've worked on our Infinite comics, and they're working on this. So we actually had a fan, Jonathan, who loves them, and we love them. I mean, they're just, like, they're geniuses at this kind of storytelling.
Yeah, you know, and I'm going to be frank with you. It was really, there was a learning curve, I think, on both sides. You know, I come more from the sports world. I've directed a bunch of stuff for ESPN and other sports stuff. And I think a lot of the artists, maybe they didn't come from a sports world. So we had some learning curve on both ends about how we're going to make this very realistic. How are the hands held on a bat? You know, how many outfielders? And it all came out great. But it was a lot. It was fun, you know.
Oh, sure. And what is it like drawing sort of those similarities between Marvel Comics? Do you try to kind of bring those together?
Well, since I had never worked with, Marvel artists and this type of animation, the way we did it was basically we do like a seminal interview, like this one interview with the athlete. Then once we had the interview, I'd kind of take the best story I could find out of it, and then would write up like, okay, close-up of shot of bat, close-up of bean going out, or whatever it was. But it was really the amazing Marvel artists who brought that to life. And then once it all came together, it was amazing. I mean, I didn't really know what to expect, and when I saw it, I was just blown away.
Yeah. This is really great. This is from Sophia. Sophia's been watching us. She watches us from Spain. Huge Marvel.
Hola.
And she says, "Wow, I love the idea because you can relate with at least one character in real life. It seems beautiful. I truly love it." Which I think is the relatability of all this. Whether you relate to how the Marvel heroes' origins happen or the sports heroes' origins happen, there is that connection, and which is just beautiful to see come together in these stories.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting was that I showed my daughter's class a couple of clips while we were still making it. And I first asked the class, does anybody watch NASCAR racing? And nobody, out of maybe 30 students, nobody raised their hands. Then I showed them the process of some of the art, and I showed them a rough piece of the Danica Patrick piece, of course, the great race car driver, Danica Patrick. And by the time they heard her story from a little girl and how she got her ability, at the end of it, I asked the class, I said, okay, if you guys are flipping through the channel and you see a race car driving going on, who's going to watch if you know Danica is racing? And they all raise their hands. And that goes to show you how these origin stories, people get invested in their story and they want to know more.
I think that's so beautiful too, because so often we watch the games, we're excited about just to see their pure athletic prowess, and it's such an awesome chance to get just to see an intimate look at their life, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really personalizes their career. You feel like you know Danica now, so when you're going to see her racing, you want to know more. You're interested in her. And all of these stories are really unique. They're not all similar. They have the commonalities of the 3 traits that I discussed, but they're really all very unique.
Well, let's remind everyone when they can tune in and where they can watch the shorts as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
So again, the Genesis 1 of 1, the feature, Tuesday night on ESPN. Check your local listings, but it's going to be back to back. This is a full-length feature where we search for superpowers. And then starting actually tomorrow, being launched right here from Comic-Con, from his and hers, will be Colin Kaepernick's, at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, will be Colin Kaepernick's origin story, the first of the 8. 7 more of these stories will start on Monday and run on SportsCenter throughout the day on ESPN. It's going to be amazing. Even if you don't like sports, tune in because these are worthwhile stories.
And tune in if you're a Marvel fan to see all the awesome art too.
Yeah, it's because of Marvel that these are so great.
You guys stick around. We're going to have Goodnight Comic Con coming up next.